This is the triplex. We're going to analyze. There are 3 apartments here. I am inside one of the units. Out of the 3 apartments, 1 is rented, the other one is, the other 2 are vacant. I checked to see if it has breaker, tile floors, 2 different colors. So different sections have done at different time. The condition of the kitchen cabinet tell me that there's some repairs or renovation that needs to be done here. And that's before renting the unit. Right now there's no electricity. Electricity got cut off. This is the condition of the bathroom. The light is from there. I use all this to calculate how much it will cost me to do the bathroom. This is the living room. I came in through the back door, that's the front door. Okay, this one doesn't have central AC, it's a wall unit AC on that window. So I gotta keep that in mind. It's a closet there. This is the rear unit. Unit number 3 is vacant. I can see they did some repair. This door is brand new. Only have primer, needs to be painted. They put a brand new floor, so that's good. Wall AC unit. Newer window, that's good. This refrigerator. They're working with electricity. They put some cabinet. It's a water heater. Tankless water heater. That's good. That's good. The walls still haven't been finished. Needs to be finished. This one in the bedroom. Floor is done. Big ceiling fan. Closet. Bedroom number 2 with the floor. Walls needs to be done. Needs a closet door. So they're doing some work over here. Bathroom. There's no electricity, but they did the floor. New fixtures. That's brand new. That's done. That's the other door. Today we're going to analyze a multi-family residential investment property that one of my colleagues, a real estate agent, sent it to me to see if I like to invest in or give it to one of my investors. Different investors want different things from investment property and analyze the property differently. I'm going to show you today how I analyze the property in order for me to decide whether I like it for me to buy it or not. I let the numbers tell me if it's a property I should try to acquire or not. I just don't look at the neighborhood or how it looks. That's very nice, but actually the primary guide that I use are the numbers, and this is how I do it. Okay, this is the triplex. There are 3 apartments over here. It's in Hollywood. The price $595,500 is there are 2 buildings, one in the front, one in the back. Total under AC is 1,470 square feet. Was built in 1956, so it's an older property. Some renovations have been done according to what the realtor says over here. There are 3 apartments, 2 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, and 1 with 2-bedroom and 1-bathroom apartment. One of the 1-bedroom is rented for $1,300 a month. The second 1-bedroom for $1,300 a month is vacant, and the 2-bedroom is vacant. And the realtor says it can be rented for $2,400. As you saw in the video earlier, you saw the condition of it and the things that I will like to do on the property if I decide to invest in it. Okay, this is the property. I'm going to analyze it now. It's a triplex. The asking price is $595,500. When you divide it by 3 apartments, it gives me $198,500 per unit. Some investor call it per door. I call it per unit. Okay, now we can see the triplex. It comes out to $198,500 per unit. I will have to put a 25% down payment. Sometimes on investment property, you can probably put 20% down or 10% down. In some cases, I purchased property with 10% down, but the last one I purchased, I put 25%. And that's what I will do here if I decide to buy this one. Closing costs, I estimate around 3% of the sales price. And this is my total. Okay. Now, based on the numbers I receive, this is the income for the 3 apartment. The 1-bedroom there is rented, $1,300. The other 1-bedroom there is vacant, and the 2-bedroom there is vacant, $2,400. That give me $5,000 a month and $60,000 per year. When you are doing analysis for investment property, you use the number primarily for the whole year, because sometimes you have some expenses there are actually once a year or twice a year. So you need to also include those in the calculations. I know this area where the property is, and vacancy rate is a little bit high there. So I'm going to use a vacancy of 14%. That's out of the 365 days of the year. 14% of those days, I estimate is going to be vacant. And actually 2 of the units are vacant right now. So that 14% of that monthly income is $700. A year is $8,400 out of the $60,000. That give me an effective gross income of $51,600 or $4,300 a month. Okay. Now, after I total all the expenses that I have the taxes for 2022. I put it there. I don't have the insurance, so I did my best estimates that I could do for insurance. Local city tax, lawn care, those are my estimated numbers. Electricity, although each tenant pay for their own electricity, okay, I estimate that during the time the apartments are vacant, I'll have to put the electricity under my company name. And for that time, I'm going to have to pay some electricity. So that's the cost that I have here. And reserve. Some investors don't like to calculate their reserve. It's a smart thing to do so every single time, because you're going to have eventually to replace the roof, air conditioner, appliances, and things like that. And you need to allocate some funds. So when it's time to replace those items, you have the funds there, or at least most of it already there. According to this, 51% of the gross income actually is expenses. That's 51%. That's very high. I like to keep it around 40% or less. Maximum maybe 41%, probably touching 42%, but maximum try to keep it at 40%. But anyway, this one is at 51%. This give me an effective gross income of $4,300 once you deduct the expenses. A year is $51,600. Okay. Now over here, once you take the expenses, this is what you have. Now, here you have the net operating income monthly and for the year. That's after all of the expenses. That's the operating income you have. Okay. That is 49% out of the total gross income that is coming in. Capitalization rate. Capitalization rate, that's when you take the net operating income, okay, and you divide it by the purchase price, okay. It will give you a percentage. That capitalization rate is very much the speed into which you can, with that income, recuperate the purchase price or the percentage of that purchase price that number represent. 4.9%. I like to buy properties that give me around 7% or higher. Okay. Sometimes I buy property at 2%, 3% cap rate, but that depends if it have multiple other compensatory factors. Okay. What could be compensatory factor? If I see that the current rent rate for each of the units are extremely low for the area, I do my research, and if it's in the area that I'm very familiar with, I know exactly what the rent should be. And if I see the rents are way too low, I know that after I buy the property, I can raise the rent easily with no problem. And that's one thing. Also, if there are some issues with the current owner expenses, that he's probably mismanaging the property, and I can see what it is, I understand what it is, I understand what I need to be done, what needs to be done. That's another one too, and so on. So if I know I can do that and quickly turn this into a higher cap rate, I'll definitely do it if it's a good property. Now, I also run the scenario in case I want to get a return of 7% cap rate on the property. How much should I pay? The numbers tell me here I should pay $422,456.57. At that price, with this net operating income, I will receive a 7% cap rate. But currently, this is the actual 4.97%. Okay. Now, I will get 75% loan on this property. Okay. And we see down here, once I get a 75% loan on the property, right now interest rate at the end of 2023 for investment property is very high. It's 8.5%, 8.50 roughly. It could change depending on the investor and depending on the time of the year. So I use 8.5% right now. If I get a loan of the 75%, my monthly payment will be $3,434.16. That will give me a $41,292 per year. Now, once you take that net operating income and now you deduct also the mortgage on the property, okay, I'll have a negative cash flow of $11,637.96. That's a net cash flow negative. So I'll be losing at a 19% rate every single year. Now let's go up here. Here are the same numbers, 19% negative. Now something else is very interesting that I like to also take a look at is the return on my cash. One thing to see what's your return according to the purchase price and your down payment and closing costs and all of that stuff. Now, Return on the cash is your down payment plus all of your closing costs, and then the repairs if you gotta do any. The total, in this case, I don't have any repairs on this calculation here. Total cash invested is $166,740. That's how much is going to have to come out of my pocket to acquire this property. Out of this money, I will receive a negative 7% return on my cash. Okay, that's a cash on cash return, negative 7% in this scenario. However, on this particular property in the neighborhood, I don't think I will be able to rent this 2-bedroom for this amount. And I think, according to as you saw in the video, there are certain items that I like to repair and do. Okay. Now, I did another calculation here. I made a list of all the things I would like to replace or repair to get the 2 vacant remaining unit to lease. And in the condition, I like to have the apartment to rent it. In order for me to do that, I will have to put in and invest $32,675 additionally to the purchase price, and my closing costs and down payment that I have to put in. When I take that amount and move it to here, okay, now I have repairs and renovation, $32,675 plus my closing costs plus my down payment. Now out of my pocket, I'll have to put $199,415. With this amount, my return, my cash on cash return is now negative 8%. You see how this is useful. In order for you to calculate, it's better for me to leverage myself with a loan and get a loan, and how much of a loan should I put on an investment property. When you leverage what you can do to acquire property and you get a loan, you get a much higher return on your money that you put in than if you pay for the entire investment property cash. A lot of people say a lot of bad things about banks. I love banks. I like banks. This is very useful. Mortgages are very useful because it gives you the ability to acquire an extremely expensive asset that otherwise you wouldn't be able to pay down cash if you don't have all the funds. Now, over here, now let's come to the income. I left the 1-bedroom that is already rented for $1,300. That tells me that the rate for the apartment, the 1-bedroom apartment, is already established because they're already getting paid that amount. So I'm gonna leave the vacant unit at the same amount. Now the 2-bedroom, I don't think I can rent it for what the realtor suggested, but I believe I can rent it for $1,900 a month. That gives me $22,800 a year, and all three, $54,000. Okay. Now, I left the expenses exactly the same, obviously, by lowering the income. That also changed the vacancy rate and the management fee, so that changed it a little bit there. Everything else I left it the same. But now look at the percentage compared to my gross income, what the expenses represent. 54% is even higher now. Okay. Now, with this income, with my net operating income at the new number now, $25,011.96, that represents 46% of the gross income. Number two, my capitalization rate, is 4.20. If I want 7% return, cap rate, okay, on this investment, I will have to pay $357,313.71. I let the number tells me if this is a property I want to buy. The numbers are telling me right now for a long time, no, I'm not gonna buy this property. I'm not gonna touch it at all. There are different investors that are willing to rent the property the way it is. They probably can repair the property for less money. They can probably do different things to increase the value of the property and make the numbers work for them. But the way I do my calculations over here, this is just for me. I would not do it at all. Okay, and the numbers are telling me why. With the same amount of mortgage, okay, now with a lower income, you take the net operating income and the same mortgage amount. Now my loss is $1,349.86 every single month, or $16,197.96. That represents 30% loss every month or every year on this investment. So I'm gonna definitely pass on it. But this is how I do my calculations, and let the numbers be the one who tells me if I should buy the property or not. When you do your numbers on a property like that or a different one, you want to make sure that you gather as much information possible, but you never just believe what the owner tells you. The owner have to tell you the condition of the property, but you also have to do your due diligence and find out as much as possible. When you don't have a number or an expense, you have to come up with your best estimate in order for you to do your numbers and calculate it. This is how I do it. Hopefully this was entertaining for you, and it's actually it was good for you to start practicing and see how you can also learn to invest in real estate. Investing in real estate and managing property are two different things. And although you see a lot of people on TV and the internet everywhere telling you everybody should be investing in real estate and becoming a landlord and start managing investment property. And actually, with my experience, I've been doing this for a long time, and my answer to that is absolutely not. It's not for everybody. It's a lot of work. You want to practice, you want to learn, and that is only to learn how to pick and select the right property to buy. Once you buy the property, now you need to start applying a lot of knowledge and skills in order to acquire the right tenant and manage the property properly. That's another whole set of skills, which subscribe to the channel and look into the different titles so you can see some of my other tips and the other things that I do in regard to managing investment property successfully. Hopefully this one was very helpful for you. Most of the time I see people doing analysis on property. The numbers they put there are very, very profitable, and everything is rosy and dandy. Actually, I use a real life scenario here. This property is actually on the market right now. I believe it's going to go on the contract as we speak right now. So there are investors for everything, every single type of property. But these are my real life scenario, how I analyze property. This analysis was actually for me and for one of my investors that I work with to see if I like the numbers and I don't.